Hello, everybody. On this episode of Don't Blame Me, we have your most requested guest, Lily Marston, and we talk about a girl whose brother is now dating her friend, very much a Harry Ginny situation. And we also talk about a girl whose new friend is being a little weird and texting her mom about asking where she is, her whereabouts. What's happening? We don't know. We're going to find out. This episode of Don't Blame Me is brought to you by Casper, a sleep brand that continues to revolutionize its line of products to create an exceptionally comfortable sleep experience one night at a time. Get $50 off select mattresses by visiting casper.com/blame and using promo code BLAME at checkout. Thanks to Audible for supporting Don't Blame Me. For a free audiobook with a 30-day free trial, go to audible.com/blame or text BLAME to 500-500. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Don't Blame Me. Today, we have the internet's queen, everybody's favorite person in the world.
Where are you getting these?
From the fucking comments of Beauty Break.
Yeah,
You're the most liked person.
You're very requested on this show, too.
You are. No,
thanks,
you are. Yeah. Everyone wants a video. They're like, now that you have video, we need Lily back. Which,
well, thank you guys.
Also, I'm gonna
feels nice to be wanted.
I'm gonna keep having you back because I'm like, I just want to rotate my friends in and
well,
out.
And we were talking. It's nice to. I feel like we have to schedule work things to be able to hang out.
Well, that's because we just both get tired and don't want to leave our houses.
Yeah,
which is the story of my life and being like, I don't want to drive.
I'm like, I want to hang out with someone, but then that requires moving and not being horizontal. So
exactly.
Like,
and I don't leave. I make people come to me.
I know, and same. And
yeah,
so
and that's
neither
like
of us will go to each
us.
other.
Which usually is easy with Aislinn because Aislinn's like, I'll be right over. I'm like, great. Because I'm not leaving.
It was better when I used to edit all of your videos. Then
do
it was
you
like
do that again?
I don't really have time.
Okay.
But it was like we had to
I have time to do it, but I just
like,
don't want to do it. Okay, well, guys, this is Don't Blame Me. It's an advice podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, say hello to Lily's sexy outfit and potential underboob. No, you don't have any. God. But I mean, like, it's questionable.
It's like not revealing.
And then if you are watching this, you can also click the down bar to see where you can, or hear, you can see it, and then you can find out where to hear the podcast.
What
I don't know.
accent was that?
I don't know. I'm getting to you. Melissa's pointing to herself. Include
I was just
that.
waiting.
Hello, me.
I'm here.
And Melissa's here. And your title today is?
Queen.
Queen.
I got a throne
Your
here.
big ass throne. It looks good.
I feel like your hair is kind of like a crown as well.
Is it?
Yeah, it looks good.
Great. Crown and glory.
Oh, hell yeah. So guys, this is an advice podcast, which I've said multiple fucking times. If you guys need some help in your life and you want us to give you advice, give us a call at 310-694-0976. And to all of our international listeners, email an audio file to meghanpodcast@gmail.com. And we're about to dive in and give you some truth bombs.
I was going to try and sing that dive in song that people always sing when they're talking about DMs, but then I remember.
Slide into the DMs?
It's like, I'm about to dive in. But
What
I'm not,
song is
never
that?
mind.
I don't know either.
Well,
I'm not
I
going to
trust
sing it
you
because I
because
knew
you
that
know
it wasn't going to sound like that.
But
That
you
was
know
my
more
joke,
pop culture
but
references than me.
I'm just going to stop talking.
Well, guys, let's hop into the episode.
Hi, Megan. I'm 17, and this past summer I've been getting really close with this friend. I consider her my best friend now. And her and my mom exchanged phone numbers a few weeks ago. But if I don't answer my phone or answer her text or her calls or anything or her Snapchats or anything like that, she will call my mom asking where I am, if I'm home, what I'm doing, and she'll also text my mom repeatedly and even call her repeatedly when my mom's at work. So me and my mom are also trying to move out of our house right now because of my stepdad, but that's a whole different story. But this friend will actually, without my mom even asking or anything, like we're both 17, and this girl will actually call houses that she sees for rent and for sale, and she'll get information about them, and she'll call my mom, and she'll tell my mom about them, like what their requirements are and everything, and she just does kind of stuff like that, like over pushing her boundaries. And so how do I tell her to not really push her boundaries anymore? And like, she can't repeatedly text my mom asking where I am, and she can't really call houses for sale. You know what I mean?
So I have some thoughts. I think the first one is
Concern.
I wonder if this is because they're new friends. So I say, overall, I say be transparent and say that it's odd, or not say that it's odd. Talk to your mom. Make your mom do it.
That's me. I'm like, well, if she's texting the mom, that like, she's already talking to her.
Like, I'll text my best friend's mom, but like, I'll text Sydney's mom, but it's not weird. Like, she's in my phone as like Mama Cohen.
Well, a very different scenario.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Like oldest best friend that
also,
like,
granted,
she's like a mom to
if
you.
Sydney didn't text me back in high school, I would have just like called her sister and been like, "Hey, I'm coming over."
Well, yeah, because that's, I think, also the difference is like, what is their relationship and how new? Because like, if it was like your best friend and they weren't answering and you like thought they were just like not answering, I would just like show up at their house. But
yeah, the fact that she's calling in and saying that she feels weird about it means that like, this is out of character, or this is like a new friend and you're like, oh, I don't like this. But you have every right to feel odd about it. I would say maybe she wants a family.
That's, I think definitely it sounds like the other girl has some insecurities or issues that she's dealing with. And maybe she's like trying to kind of like create a home life that she can.
And maybe she sees like, maybe she just really likes you and your mom and your relationship. And maybe she very much wants to have like a family like that. Or also maybe she has like a shitty stepdad and she kind of sympathizes and she's just not, it's just coming across in like a really like
weird obsessive way. Yeah.
In that. But also maybe it is a weird obsessive thing and you're the only one who can know that. So I think if you tell your mom,
I feel like it's totally a cop out to have the mom do it, but at the same time,
she included the mom. It's not your fault.
I was like, well, now the mom's part of it.
Yeah.
So I feel like also you could maybe get the message across less harsh with the mom than being like, hey, like you're fucking weird. Stop texting my mom all the time, and have the mom be like, hey, sweetie, like it's actually like I'm at work and I can't talk, and like we have a realtor, but I really appreciate you trying to help. Yeah, but like we don't need it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like moms can like phrase things so it's not as offensive as like you just kind of being like, ugh.
Totally. Because you're like, you're an adult. You know more than me. Like, I believe you.
Even though like plot twist, like no one knows anything.
Yeah. No one knows shit. No. And then for like the whole, if you, I think after that, you should see how she responds to it. Because maybe she doesn't, you know what I mean? Like maybe she's got great intentions.
But she just starts showing up.
And she knows, but then if she starts doing that, then you can kind of be like, okay, I don't really want to hang out with this girl anymore. Also, even if she's having, whatever, this is going to sound controversial. Even if she's having like we've talked about this a lot. Even if she's having like a rough home life, if she's making you feel uncomfortable or you're not, you don't feel beneficial, you're not benefiting from this friendship, I think it's worse to be pity friends with someone than it is to like, not cut them out of your life, but kind of like back away so then they can find somebody who's going to be a real friend to them, not someone who feels obligated to. Because no matter what's happening in your home life, someone else's home life and all of those things, I think in order to care for that person, the best thing to do is I think you should always cut people slack, obviously, and give them second chances. But then also, I think how people become better people despite like hardships and stuff is like when people are like, oh no, everyone goes through that kind of stuff. Like, face that thing.
Well, then I was just thinking like, what if you like had your friend that you would call when like something goes wrong and they just like didn't care?
Yeah.
I'm like, so not to say that this girl doesn't care, because I feel like clearly she does if she's seeking advice on like how to fix the situation. But like,
yeah, you don't really want to spend a lot of time letting someone else invest in your friendship if you're like have one foot out the door. It's not fair to either of you. Like it's wasting your time and it's also preventing her from finding another friend who could be that really great friend to her. But also this might just be like a miscommunication and like maybe she's an alien. Maybe she's never like had a human friend before.
Well, I was just going to say I'd also be curious if maybe she has any other friends that you could like compare notes and be like, is she doing this to you too? Has she done this?
Yeah.
Especially if it's a new friend and you don't like kind of feeling it out.
Yeah. Or maybe she's an alien. Like Kyle likes wine. She has no belly button.
I'm an alien, but I don't like people. So
yeah. See, yeah,
so casual.
It's much more normal. I think we did it.
Yeah. I'm sorry. That sounds very uncomfortable.
I'm also curious what happens.
Yeah.
So
keep us
let us
posted.
know. Okay. On to the next.
So I am 23 years old and I have a little bit of a dilemma. And I would like your opinion on if I'm overreacting or if I should just leave it. So my brother is 2 years older than me, And him and my best friend have been talking for a while. Like, they text, and I know that they've, like, hung out a couple times. And last night, he actually went and stayed at her house. And I have let them know before that it just makes me really, like, uncomfortable. Like, it's just kind of weird to me because I would never do anything with my friend's brother, or I would never do anything with my brother's friend, just because I feel like it's just kind of weird and crossing a line. And I feel really uncomfortable about it because I don't really have many friends. Like, she's kind of my only friend, and I don't know, it just makes me feel kind of weird. So I kind of talked to them about it, and I told them how it's just weird that they're hanging out, and I'm pretty sure that they probably have slept together, even though they said that they haven't. And I would just like your opinion on if you think I'm overreacting. Obviously, they're both adults, so they can live their lives however they'd like, but I guess it's just kind of annoying how my feelings weren't really put into consideration on how it would make me feel weird.
Lily's dying to say something.
I have such a good example because it's literally like this to a T, actually even similar ages. My old roommate in college, her brother's a year older, and he would visit all the time. We'd all hang out. I actually made out with him a couple times. She never cared.
Your whole friend group
she
is
was
so
like encouraging
incestual.
that. But he would visit, and his friends would visit, and since they're a year apart, like, and she's a twin, so like the three of them always hung out and had very similar friends, and also like drink a lot of alcohol. So they all, and especially their friend group, very incestuous. But she started. One night they were drunk at a party, and she hooked up with one of the brother's friends, and it was like, in the morning it was like, oh my God, it's so funny. Like, can't believe we made out, and like played it off as if it wasn't a big deal. And then they like made out again a week later.
Chandler and Monica.
And then they kept hanging out. And then the brother freaked out and was like so not okay with it, and was like mad at both of them and like screaming at his sister for like, how could you sleep with my friend? And it's like literally one of his like 5 like best friends. And he really like resented it and like wouldn't let it happen for so long. But like at the end of the day, you can't really tell someone not to like someone. You can tell them not to be together, but then they're just going to resent you more. Or they're just going to do it behind your back, which is exactly what my friend did. And it was for like a while, I think. And the brother would always like suspect, but they'd deny it. Yeah. And then it would be like, even when they were hanging out like all together, like he would try and like call them out, and they'd be like, no, like we're totally just friends. Eventually they like had a huge blowout. Everyone got in a huge fight, but then he did like kind of finally was like, okay, like if you really care about each other. And they dated for a while, like at least 6 months or something. Like it wasn't just like a
fling.
Yeah. Because they really did like each other. And she's like, well, it sucks because like, why should I give up something that could be really great just because it makes my brother a little uncomfortable for right now, even though he would definitely like get used to it later. Yeah. So they ended up breaking up, and now that guy's married and the brother's married and relationship. But like, wow, it was very much like over the course of probably a year and a half. And it was when I lived with her, and it was like very dramatic. But had he kind of just been more understanding up front, then they wouldn't, the only solution on her end is like, then they never would have found out if it could have been something. And then she would have regretted it forever anyway. Yeah. So I would say that you're not overreacting. And also that definitely it wasn't like during that whole time, even when my friend was hooking up with the brother's friend, they were like still felt so guilty, and it was always like a point of conversation that they were talking about. So to say that she like didn't consider your feelings probably isn't true. It's that she's like literally probably freaking out all the time and like feels guilty, but then like doesn't know because she's like balancing both of them. So I think it's just a tough situation to be in.
I'd also say if you're saying that she's like your best friend and one of your only friends, I guarantee you this is something that like she's probably been feeling towards him for so long that she's tried to squash. And like she probably feels so guilty, and like she doesn't want to feel those feelings for him more than you don't want her to.
Exactly.
Because like that it's jeopardizing a friendship in her eyes. Like if you're not supportive of it, it's jeopardizing a friendship for a relationship in your 20s, which might not go anywhere. So it's like she could lose both of you if she goes through with all of this. So I would say the considering
if she's willing to even do that, then that means she must
has,
like him quite a bit.
And
so
also the same thing with your brother. Like I would say like that is, if he just wanted to hook up with her and she just wanted to hook up with him and it wasn't like a feelings thing, they probably would have just done that. And even if it was that, I'm sure your brother wouldn't want to put you in that kind of position because like that's awkward and like isn't fun. I would also say I do feel like it's a little different for girls in the situation just because guys, this is okay, just stereotypical, but a lot of my guy friends don't talk to their other guy friends about like their girlfriends. That's like not really like, we'll talk about like, I mean, they'll talk to me about their girlfriends, but they don't really talk like guy to guy about that. And even Mott says that. He's like, no, like I'm more likely to talk to like a girl about another girl than I am with like guys. But girls, I find I'm more likely to talk to my girlfriends about relationship stuff than I am really with my guy friends. Like I'll talk to my guy friends more with like about sexual stuff. But like if it's like it's literally me, Tyler and Leo.
I'll talk to my guy friends about boning.
Literally. No, we'll talk about everything though. But I think like that might feel, you might feel like, oh, we usually talk about our crushes and now we don't get to because like it's about my brother. And so you feel like it's kind of limiting the things you can talk about. But I would say if you maybe can hang out with them one time and just see it, and then also like have like a serious talk with your friend about like, I think if you can tell her like if this is something really serious between you guys and you guys really like have feelings for each other, I'm not gonna lie, it feels really weird. And if you haven't seen my movie yet, it happens in my movie, The Honor List. Watch it, stream it, buy the DVD. But if you can tell her like it makes me feel like odd, but I love and care about you both so much that I want you both to be happy. And so I just really want to let you know that like for me, my fear in this is if you guys break up, are we going to still be able to be friends? Because like, that's my brother and like, he's always going to be in my life. Or also like, am I going to lose you? Like, am I not going to see you or hang out with you a lot? Like maybe she's one of those girls that hangs out with her boyfriend when she's dating someone, hangs with her boyfriend all the time. And it's like, I don't want to lose. I'm afraid that if it works, I'm going to lose you. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to lose you. And if you can tell her that, because I think there might be a part of her, the reason why they're not talking to you about it is because like they don't think you feel comfortable talking about it. And I think as soon as you kind of set the they're just like waiting for your cue, I would probably say, because they're considering your feelings. And I think they're just misreading that and then not talking to you about it when I think it sounds like you want to have a conversation. So I think you need to kind of say that. And you're not being unreasonable.
I think it's an uncomfortable situation regardless. But I also think 23 is pretty young still, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm 28 and I'm like, I don't meet that many people that I like really like.
I've been dating Mott since I was 22.
Exactly. So I'm like, if you had the opportunity, like if this girl if your friend is like literally like dating different guys like every weekend and always has a boyfriend and is like a serial dater, maybe the situation's a little different. But it's like if this is someone she actually likes and like is willing to like make it uncomfortable with her best friend for it, like don't you really want to like also give her the benefit of the doubt and be like, hey, like if this is something you really think is like,
and then if they get married, she could be your sister.
Exactly.
Me and Sydney always said we always wish she had a brother. Granted, he'd be so short. We probably never date. But her parents were always like, we wish we had a son that Meghan could just date. And I could get married to. But they like Motts. But they do. And I think also
you need to consider their feelings just as much as you think that they're not considering yours.
Yeah. Also, I think you've got some homework. Watch 17 again. Apparently the kissing booth.
What is 17 again? Why am I?
Haley Steinfeld. Her best friend starts dating her brother.
Yeah,
I was gonna say 17 again is Zac Efron.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I don't think there's like a Chandler. Literally, yes, that is accurate.
I want to watch that.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, and then watch The Honor List. So you've got some homework.
And maybe just talk to your friend and your brother.
Watch my movie though too. Okay, let's go on to the next.
I am 20 years old. And I'm dating this guy. We've been dating for about 4 months now, and things are going great. We just spent the weekend with my sister and her family. It was amazing. He has a fantastic penis. Everything's great. But We started dating relatively soon after I broke up with my ex, and my ex kind of completely destroyed me as a human being, and I was left in this puddle of just tears for a solid 2 months, and I was just talking to my sister every night and crying, and it was terrible. And I learned a lot from that relationship and how shitty of a situation it was. But I don't know how to separate my ex from my current relationship, and I don't want my ex to have the power over my current relationship to completely fuck it up, because so far it's going really great. But sometimes I have to stop myself from punishing my boyfriend for things that my ex did and being paranoid with him about things that my ex did. And I don't think that's fair. But at the same time, I feel like I did grow so much from my relationship with my ex. And so I want to continue to learn from that relationship and just use all the shitty mistakes that I made in that relationship so it doesn't happen again. But I also don't want to punish my boyfriend, who has done nothing wrong, for a relationship that he had no part of. And I don't know how to do that. I don't know what that balance is. And so I'm just constantly fighting with myself to not be crazy with my current boyfriend.
I don't want to say you already fucked up, but I think this, like, you're going to have to go about this in a different way because you hopped into a relationship really quickly after. Because I would say my boyfriend before Mott's, will not say his name. Really fucked me up for like a long time, to the point where I was like, I'm going to wait. Granted, yeah, like so bad. So I was like, I waited like a full year.
Like, I hang out with someone for a week and I'm like, okay, 6-month break.
Yeah. But like I waited a full year before I started dating again, because in that relationship, ever since I was, not to make this all about me, but ever since I started dating at like seriously dating, like including sex and stuff at like 16-ish. And so I like consistently had a guy from the time that I was 16 through 21. And like each guy progressively just got worse and worse and worse and worse. And so by the time that I was 21 and I was dating this guy, I was like, 2021. And I was dating this guy.
21.
Yeah. He was just awful. Like, it was terrible. And it was a really, really, really bad relationship. And from there, I took some of the blame of being like, yes, I'm not the one who's making these relationships bad. Like, I'm dating these bad guys, but like my picker's off right now, because like I'm just accepting shitty behavior because I've gotten so used to that I gave myself a year to be like, I need to like wipe this clean. I need to figure out what I want. And I need to not just try and seek like relationships as like validation. And that's what I was doing so much, was that like I was just looking for relationships and my picker was off. And so I took a year break before I started dating anyone else. And that's when I started dating Mats after that.
Who you didn't even seek out.
Who I didn't, but I had a crush on him forever. But I would say going into a relationship 2 months after one that like really wrecked you is hard. I think you need to have an honest conversation with your boyfriend and be like, hey, I'm coming into this with, I hate the term baggage, but you're like, I'm coming into this with a lot of like things that just like trigger me, like things that make me like associate with a previous relationship. And I need to learn you and know you and learn that the things that you might say and do aren't going to lead to the same things that your ex did. Mm-hmm. But I think you need to include him in the conversation, because otherwise he's going to be able to tell you if you're being crazy too. Like, he's going to be able to say, oh no, you're reading too much into this. But if you don't tell him those things,
he's just going to think you're constantly reading too much into it.
Yeah, and you're battling all this stuff in your head, and right now, no offense, I think like your gauge of you're going to be like sensitive to some things that somebody else might not think about at all, because you have like previous issues with that stuff. And so I think until you include him in on that, he's not going to know. And also, if you include him in on it and he's a good guy,
he'll be understanding.
Yeah. And he's going to be able to be like, oh no, I totally understand. These are the things that make you feel a certain way. And also that applies to like relationships, it applies to like family. Like, if there are just like certain, like some people have abandonment issues, like there are like certain things that if you can like let your partner in on, it's not asking them to change something drastic about their personality, but it's like, oh, maybe it's the way I say something or the way I ask you to do something that like, I wouldn't think that this means something, but like for you, it brings up something from your past that reminds you of that.
Well, and even I think she said they've been dating 4 months.
Yeah.
That like, that's a pretty decent amount of time to get to know someone. So I feel like if you've exhibited crazy, you probably already have. So I would say it doesn't even have to be like every time he does something that maybe reminds you of something your ex did, don't look at it like that, but maybe just have a general conversation with him. I would say up front, but a little after the fact now.
Yeah.
And just be like, hey, I know that sometimes I might come across as being, and then I don't know what exactly the craziness is manifesting in, if it's like you're getting mad because he's not texting you back, or if he's like hanging out with other girls or something, but that just be like, hey, just so you know, like this is where that's coming from and I'm working on it, but like I need you to know that I am working on it. So like you don't think that I'm just crazy.
Yeah. And I'd also say when you don't have to, it's not you don't have to choose between being crazy or being gullible and a doormat.
And also I feel like just being crazy is an annoying term anyway, because I'm like,
guys created.
Yeah, I was like, crazy to who?
And
like,
also like,
did he not text you back for 2 days and then you got mad? Because I don't think that's crazy.
No, and also let's talk about the origin of your crazy. You're saying that you're being crazy because your last boyfriend made you crazy. So ultimately this all leads back to boys making girls crazy and then calling girls crazy. I think it's okay if you're not, you can be over him and know he's a total scumbag, but you can still be really hurt and affected by that and be not ready to bring everything that you usually can bring to a relationship.
Well, and then it's especially if it didn't end like on your terms, then and you're like still kind of seeking closure, even though you are with someone already new. Then it's like, are you one waiting for the other shoe to drop? So it's like, when is this relationship going to end? Or are you trying to like kind of outdo the last relationship and trying to be like, well, this is going to be better, and then like you're just too in your head about it. You need to actually be like enjoying the time together, because that's the whole point of being in a relationship. But
you just have to be, you just got to focus on what makes you happy right now and like what's going to make the best. Because if you're feeling crazy in this relationship, if you're single, you might be sad, but you're not going to sabotage another relationship by bringing the shit that you dealt with in the last one into this one. And if he's a really great guy too, I think end advice would be have that conversation with him. Tell him like this is what's been going on in your head and include him in on that.
Because also it's not like you're like, hey, I'm still in love with my ex-boyfriend, I want to go back to him. It's like, hey, I'm just like really struggling.
And I recognize what I've been doing. It might have come across as a certain thing. So say that, gauge his reaction, and also not to be an asshole, but like he also might not end up being like the greatest guy ever. Like it might not be like the perfect guy ever, but like everyone comes into your life for like,
I was going to say, there's relationships all exist for different reasons. So
one
might be
a season or a lifetime.
Oh my God.
Pinterest. No, literally though. Listen to like your gut instincts, because no matter what, no matter how like crazy you think you are, I think like everybody's gut is like always right. And then follow what's going to make you the happiest in a year from now.
And I think just like if he's doing something that you in any way can like take a step back and trace it back to like, I'm actually upset because so-and-so used to do this.
Yeah.
If you have to say that, then that's a concern. Like, then we need to.
Totally.
The only person that you're benefiting or not benefiting in a relationship is you and the other person.
Exactly.
So like, if you're not really enjoying it and living your best life, then get out of it.
Yeah. Okay. Best of luck. Okay, guys, we're going to go on a quick break. And this time we're actually going to utilize the break. I mean, you're going to utilize it because you're going to listen to some fantastic ad reads done by me. Hell yeah. And I, in real time, I'm going to go pee. This episode of Don't Blame Me is brought to you by Casper. Casper is a sleep brand that continues to revolutionize its line of products to create an exceptionally comfortable sleep experience one night at a time. Guys, we all need mattresses. And guess who these mattresses are designed for?
Me?
Humans. by
then not me.
humans. No, she's an alien. So if you are an alien, this doesn't apply to you because Casper mattresses are designed by humans for humans. So you can continue to sleep on rocks because that's how she sleeps. She just floats. You just like are suspended in amniotic fluid. Yes. That's how you are. It's one of my favorite words, by the way, amniotic fluid.
New birth every day.
Ugh, grody. The original Casper mattress combines multiple supportive memory foams for a quality sleep surface with just the right sink and just the right bounce, which kind of reminds me of Goldilocks, which is very great because I am a very picky and particular person, and I am a huge fan of the Casper mattress. I have one in my guest room. It's really comfortable. There are times where I will get mad at my boyfriend and I will sleep in there, and then my Mats will come in and then lay there next to me, and we both will comment on like, wow, this is a really comfortable mattress, and it's far more comfortable than other mattresses that we've tried. We're huge fans. Casper's breathable design, that's me breathing as a mattress. Okay, alien breathing. You don't get to contribute to this. You're not a human. They help you sleep cool and regulate your body temperature throughout the night. So if you're like me and you're apparently having, I was going to say I'm having like pre-menopause by getting hot flashes, but I think that Mats just keeps turning the air conditioning off before we go to bed, which is not okay because I wake up in a cold sweat, tangled in my tank top. But if I was sleeping in the guest room, that wouldn't happen. And guess what, guys? They're not just a mattress company. Casper offers a wide array of products to ensure an overall better sleep experience. They're made in the USA because it's a party in the USA. And guess what? Buying the Casper is easy because you get to do my favorite thing, which is order online. You don't even have to talk to anybody. And it's delivered to your door in a compact box. And I can testify that it is very compact. Aislinn and I loaded it up the stairs ourselves, 2 flights of stairs, might I add. And we unpacked it, set it all up, just us two. Granted, we do both exercise, but we didn't need anybody to help us. We were 2 strong, independent women. And Casper also offers free shipping and a free return to the US and our favorite country, Canada. Casper offers a risk-free 100-day trial. So considering that we spend a third of our lives on a mattress, if you're me, probably a little bit more, it is so important to truly sleep on a mattress before committing. It's like a relationship. You don't buy the car you first drive. That's not the saying, but I paraphrased it. And that's why Casper gives you 100 nights to try it out. Like I said, we have a Casper in the guest bedroom, and it's incredibly comfortable. One time we're going to have Aislinn come on here because she sleeps on that at least once a week when I force her to sleep over. Get $50 off towards select mattresses by visiting casper.com/blame and using promo code BLAME at checkout. Terms and conditions apply, and that's $50. 50 buckaroos, guys, towards select mattresses by visiting casper.com/blame and using promo code BLAME at checkout. Okay, guys, today's episode is brought to you by Audible. And if you have watched my YouTube videos for a good amount of time, you might know that I'm a huge fan of Audible. As somebody with ADHD, it can be really hard to read a book and sit down and find that time. But I love cleaning my apartment, driving in my car, and listening. And if you're listening to like the podcast, guys, you like to listen to things already, so why not listen to a book? And audiobooks are fantastic. They are so great for you to learn how to do new things. They can be self-help books, fiction, nonfiction, anything like that. And Audible is offering a free audiobook with a 30-day free trial for you guys because they're awesome. So if you want to listen to it, I can promise you it's probably on Audible. Just go to audible.com/blame or text blame to 500-500 and browse their unmatched selection of audio content. Download a title for free and start listening. It's easy peasy, lemon, finish it.
Squeezy.
There we go. Oh, I like that. Okay. So if you guys are still lucky enough to be on summer vacation, or if you're like me and you're an unemployed actor and summer vacation is forever, except not the fun kind, audiobooks are a great sidekick for your summer activities like hiking, going to the beach, running. Well, I don't really participate in running. Going on a road trip, downtime outdoors, or again, if you're me, laying in bed with the air conditioning on high. Audible has the largest selection of audiobooks on the planet. Can't promise that Mars doesn't have more, but I mean, we don't know about. Can aliens read? I bet aliens can read.
Yeah, I can read.
True. And she is an alien, everybody. So I just finished listening to the Bachelor Nation book by Amy Kaufman. So if you guys are a fan of the Bachelor franchise, this book was very interesting. I have only recently gotten into The Bachelor, but this book is written by someone who has been close ties to Bachelor Nation. She was a reporter, and I mean, she's still technically a reporter, and basically dives deep into like behind the scenes secrets of like how everything works. So if you're a nosy person and you like want to stalk things, I feel like you would really like it. I was very, very into it. I just finished listening to it on the airplane I was on, and there were definitely a couple girls when I was going through airport TSA who saw it on my phone, and they were like, oh yeah, definitely other fans of Bachelor Nation. So I actually need a new book to listen to now, guys. So I finished that one, and I also just listened to The Last Mrs. Parrish. So I'm in the mood for some crime. So if you guys can suggest some other titles to me, please let me know. And if you haven't listened to the Bachelor book, what are you doing? You can listen to it on Audible. One of my favorite things about Audible is it lets you listen to your books on multiple devices. So if you want to listen, or like me, like if I'm on the plane, I'm probably listening to it on my iPad, because then I'm also like, you know, like playing some games on my iPad at the same time. But then if I'm walking around, I'm listening to it on my phone, and then I can listen to it on my phone when I go home, and then it can play on my Amazon Echo. So it'll sync up all there, so you don't have to like go through and figure out what spot you are at. It syncs the entire time, which is great. Saves you time, which clearly I like saving time. So guys, like I said, Audible is being amazing and giving you guys a free audiobook with a 30-day free trial at audible.com/blame, or you can text blame to 500-500. That's audible.com/blame, or text blame to 500-500. Get you some books, make you real smart, make you real intelligent, and have conversations with people about things, even if it's The Bachelor.
Harmony.
That was fantastic. Fifth Harmony who? Kidding, guys. I love them. Okay, everybody, we're back from our break. I've got big dick energy. I've got medium dick energy. Melissa made me move.
It's the like fourth time she said that.
Well, I do. I just want everyone to know that I have big dick energy. Okay, so we're going to hop back into the calls.
Hi, Meghan. I love listening to your podcast. So I'm 22, and while my boyfriend is the same age as I am, he is a year behind me in school. We had met before at college, but we really started talking after we matched on Tinder this past April. And we quickly started spending lots of time together, and our feelings got very real and very serious really quickly. What maybe was just going to be a short fling, my last month in college, ended up with us both falling in love with each other. My boyfriend's a great communicator. He's great at showing me how much he cares for me and how much he loves me, and he's someone I can see in my future. But in June I graduated, and in July I moved across the country for graduate school, while my boyfriend still has one more year at college. I love him and I see a future with him, but I also want what's best for him. He's talked about moving to where I live after graduating and finding work here. But I'm uneasy with him making plans when we've only been dating for 3 months and we're just about to start our long-distance relationship. He's truly the best partner I've ever had. He checks all my boxes, but I'm also not looking to get engaged or married anytime soon, and I've always told myself that I would never move or change my life or my future for someone unless I was sure that they were right for me in the long term. And because of this, while I'd be so excited and happy for my boyfriend to move here in a year, I'm worried that this could change what he wants in his life, what his future might be, what his career goals are, and if things weren't to work out between us, I would feel quite bad. So I'm interested in your thoughts and any advice you might have.
Well, she's contradicting herself.
I know. I was like, I can't tell what to think about that, because on one hand, I'm like, oh, you sound so sweet, because it sounds like she's like, oh, I really care about him and I don't want to, and
I see a future with him.
But also that she like doesn't want to like interfere with what his future could be. But also I'm just like, is that an excuse because you're just like nervous?
Right, because he's the one that wants to move.
Yeah.
So
he's not asking you to move.
Yeah.
My thing is I think you said in the call that you see a future with him. And then you also said that you wouldn't move with someone that you weren't positive you could see a future with. And so for me, I think this is kind of one of those cases of a really great relationship that like you really, really like, you love him and he's great and there's nothing wrong. And like you're talking, he's a great communicator. Like you really love all of these things about him and it's great, but it just might not be it. And you don't want, you know what I mean? Like like you can have a great relationship and there can be nothing inherently wrong with it. And you can want to stay together, but then also be like, but I don't necessarily see us spending the rest of our lives together. And I think like I don't know. I think if you like, so let me just to put this in like what I'm going to burp. If you have anything to say it now.
Oh my God. I would say,
oh God.
Oh my God. Are you like, what did you?
Carbonated.
Okay.
I'm back though. Or do you want to keep going?
Well, I was just going to say that it could be that she does see a future with him, but like 3 months is like real quick. So maybe it's just like she sees a future with him, but like
a year future.
In her head, what she meant by like moving or like changing her life would be like someone that I've been dating for years that I know I'm about to get married to.
Yeah.
She's like,
With
obviously, I think
a
she seems
something.
like very into this, but like it's 3 months. Like,
yeah.
it's
Like a future
lot.
for that
But
could be a
also,
year.
If like he's moving in a year, like a year's a long time.
Yeah.
Like, so
He doesn't
first
have
of
to-
all,
first of all,
maybe
he
we
doesn't-
didn't have to like bring that up.
Exactly.
Like,
He doesn't have to plan
it
that
was like
yet.
rookie move on his part. But
Yeah.
I like, yeah, like maybe that's like an idea that you're throwing out there, but you like say that like, I don't want either of us to like, I don't know.
Well, I think we talk about on the podcast a lot of like long distance only really works if there's an end game. So maybe you implored that advice, but maybe that's kind of it, is that to try and make it seem like the year's going to like the long distance is worthwhile is because he's saying like, well, I'm going to move there. So there's an end thing.
Yeah.
What I would say is I think it's really hard to make that decision at that early on in a relationship, because no matter how much you like somebody, there is the logic sense of your brain that is like, this has only been this amount of time. Like I can feel all of these feelings, but I don't know how I'm going to feel in that time. But I would also say if there's a gut part of you that's saying like, I don't know, there's a difference, I think, between like the gut part of you who's like, oh, I don't want to like ruin his life. And then the part of you that is like, I know deep down, as much as I really like him, he's not it. You have to.
Yeah. If the concern is that you don't want to ruin his life because like you deep down you're not totally sure. So you don't want him to commit and be sure and then have him get there and be like, ooh, never mind, go away. And then like have his whole life be off track because he moved there for you. Well, I guess another question would be like, where did she say where they lived?
No.
That like, if it was somewhere like LA or New York, like where maybe he was like potentially going to move there anyway.
Yeah.
If it was like he had career opportunities that he would pursue there anyway.
Yeah. But
and you can maybe just align kind of plans. But like if he's literally like moving across the country to something like
Wyoming.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I don't know.
Or it could even be like New York. And then it's just if you never were planning on it, be like, well, now I am.
Yeah.
I get that. And I also get like not wanting to put all the eggs in one basket because you don't want to let someone else down.
Yeah. I would say, first of all, just say like, I would say to him,
it's not a decision you make at 3 months.
Yeah. Just be like, I really love you and I really care about you. And I really think we should like, I want to make sure that neither of us are committing to something that like a year from now, I don't want you to have to rule out jobs post grad because of this. Like, I think we should like, this doesn't mean I don't want to be with you and I don't want you to move here, but I want to keep the options open because like, what if you end up getting a new job that moves somewhere else?
I was just going to say, or what if like, if she was down to like move to another place for him, if he got a cool job, if like in a year, the relationship was much more like much further along that you were willing to make that kind of decision.
Yeah. So I would say assure him that you not wanting to agree to that isn't that you don't think that you don't want to be together after a year, but just about how you don't know where you're going to end up and you don't want either of you to be making decisions based on like a year in advance based on the other person.
It's like putting unfair expectations on the relationship when it hasn't
like
even had the time to.
You know what I mean? Like in everything else in that city, like you're planning for something that's a year in the future where there are all these other factors that could influence that.
Which, not to mention, graduating from college is like the scariest time ever, because you're like, wait, what do you mean that I like have to be a real adult now when like everyone is like, go to college and then your life will be great. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait, they lied.
Yeah, he might need to move home to like save money, and like that his like the idea that he's gonna move somewhere and find a job post grad, like that's hard to do. It's hard to find a job.
There's a lot of personal factors at play as well. Yeah. So like throwing in a new relationship where then you're suddenly like committing to something really far in advance just feels like setting you both up for a mind fuck. But I think that even if you wanted to set a time to be like, hey, like I think that this is going great and I think we should keep doing long distance, but like maybe we push the move-in conversation to a little closer when it actually makes sense.
Yeah. Like, and you can even say like, I think we should wait and like play it based on the fact that you've already graduated and been like, so I felt like I started like really like looking for jobs and things I was going to do post-grad around like whatever month this is. So I think that we should wait until then. So you could like, so you have had those conversations with employers and all of those things. So then we can really plan for something that is closer in the future as opposed to planning for something that maybe we're going to wait till this time planning and like you get an amazing job offer somewhere else and like maybe I want to move there.
The only alternative would be if this phone call was actually your way of like putting it out there that maybe you aren't as into the relationship, but you kind of are looking for someone else to like give you the okay to not be. Yeah. You did mention like he checks all the boxes and he's like really good at communicating.
But the way she
those are all
it,
things
though,
that like, so on paper, he's great.
Exactly. The way she said it was
missing
like
that thing that you would like, yes, move across the country.
Well, because I would also not to bring this to me, but like Mott's and I have had this conversation where if like I booked a job in Vancouver, like I love the what if game and he fucking hates it. And I'm like, what if I booked it? Like I could have auditions all the time or like callbacks for things that shoot in Vancouver. And I'm like, what would you do if I like booked a job in Vancouver? And he'd be like, well, depends on how long you're there for. If you're there for longer than 6 months and it's like a series, like I'd move. And that is like without it, isn't like a question kind of a thing. And that's the same thing I feel about like his job. Like if he got something that was in New York, I mean, granted, the only other place I'd probably fucking move is New York, just because like I wouldn't be able to do my job anywhere else. But that for us that's just like an automatic thing.
Well, but how long have you guys been together now?
Exactly.
So I'm like you don't have, it's like
3
you
months
guys,
in, if I got a job in fucking Canada, he would not have moved to Canada.
Because that's not a normal thing to do.
No. And
like,
it's also
even
like,
to say in a year that you would do it. Like that's just really over committing to something that you're not really sure what it is yet. So I think that especially if you're like you and Mott's like
we lived together. We've been together for 3 years.
You couldn't imagine your life without him. So it's like he's like, yeah, obviously I'd move.
Yeah.
3 monts, like you can still imagine your life without them. And you're like still on your best behavior and stuff too, I feel like.
And you can still be and I wish I could like, I feel like I say this all the time, but I feel like it doesn't get through. Like you can love somebody and be in a great relationship with them and it can be amazing and they can check all of your boxes and they can also still not be the person you're going to end up with. And that's fine. Like it's not you being picky. It's not it's not like, oh, I'm never going to find this person. This is everything that I ever wanted. I don't really believe in like sparks and like destined to be together, but like you can have great relationships and they can be amazing and they can also just not be the end game. And I think knowing that like enjoying this time while you guys have it together, if this isn't who you're going to end up with, like enjoy that. And then also know as long as he knows what you're feeling, he can make his own decisions about moving.
Yeah.
Cause you're not moving. Those are
I don't know. So we don't know your relationship. So it really could go either way. Either I think push the move talk further down so you can both like not stress about anything, or really take a hard look at the relationship and see if it's something that you.
And a year out, that's a lot. Like things might just work themselves out themselves.
Okay. On to the next.
So I've been with my boyfriend for 4.5 years and we're both 21 now, and just graduating our undergrad, and we are pursuing grad school after this as well, and we'll probably be in school for quite a bit of time. We've been together since grade 11, so
here's where the issue comes in. We're both from extremely religious Muslim families where you're not allowed to have relationships with males or females. So yeah, we've been kind of hiding it for the past 4 years, and it's been a lot. His family knows a bit more because guys have a little bit more leeway and things like that, but females have none at all. So I actually haven't spoken about it. So we are considering getting engaged next year, or in the next few months, basically. But we have to tell our parents first. And for him, this isn't really an issue because I've met everyone in his family. They know we're best friends, and that's just how they see me as. And his siblings know that we're together. But for my family, the only time they've heard of him is when they accidentally caught us in grade 12 right before prom, and they asked me to break up with him and end that relationship, which I clearly didn't. So now I've been lacking the nerves to bring it up. I'm hoping to bring it up this fall around September or October, but it's difficult for me because I'm afraid that if I mention it again, they'll remember him from grade 12 and they'll think I'm a liar, and which I have been lying, but I don't want anything negative to come out of this, and I just don't know how to approach them with this entire story. And I know this would have been so much easier for me to do if they hadn't learned about him before, because they would be extremely happy. They've always said, oh, we want you to get married young, and they really like that. And I'll be in school for a while, and I really want to settle down with him. It's really difficult to live my day-to-day life because I'm with him every day at school, around the area, and I always have to sneak around. And I just don't have that type of flexibility in a relationship, and it gets me anxious. So I was just wondering if you know how I should approach my family personally. It's just my mom and dad. My siblings don't really care.
I guess I have a few questions.
Is he open to changing his name?
Literally, that was the first thing that popped in my head. And I was like, oh no, you don't want to lie anymore.
Yeah, I know. I was like, why does he just change his name and pretend you guys met?
Literally, just get a new haircut. Maybe did they recognize him, or do they just know about it? So what's why would it be okay if she just met him recently? Mm-hmm. What is there an age that now that it's appropriate?
Well, I will be the first to say that I'm not that educated on.
I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah, we're not just super educated on the specifics of why, and I'm not sure if that's your family thing or if it's a Muslim thing in general. If there is an age.
It might even be 18.
Yeah, totally. Or maybe it is just the fact that she wasn't allowed to date in high school, and they were dating in high school and they caught them, and she was said you have to break up with him.
Other than that, I mean, that's hard.
Well, there's only so much you can do.
I mean, talking to them and just trying to really explain it to them, I guess it's hard to give any real insight with that because we don't know your parents.
Yeah. I would say this is the guy that you want to spend the rest of your life with. And I think any sort of negativity that you might get from your parents is just going to be a small blip on the rest of your guys' lives together. And even if you're saying they want you to get married young, they love the idea for you, and the only thing that would make them feel not okay is the fact that you had said you'd broken up with him when you hadn't. I think that's something that even if they are angry in the moment, they're gonna get over. Because if he's a great guy and this is what they want for you, just not how they specifically wanted it to go, in their heads, I think the more honest you can be now, I think is the best. Because I get the lying thing. I would have totally done that, not shitting on you for doing that, because that's exactly what I would have done. But if anything, I think it also probably shows your parents how serious you guys are.
That you have still been, because now it has been years.
Exactly.
It's not this was oh, we were hooking up before prom. It's no, you clearly very much care about each other.
Yeah. And I think also not broaching the subject again with your parents until you're we want to get engaged, I think also shows them I very much felt really guilty for doing this. And I really care about your approval and I really want that. Mm-hmm. So I think ultimately, I think they're going to want you to be happy. And I think even if they don't react they're not like crazy excited right off the bat and they're like a little bit disappointed and upset, I think that's going to go away.
And that's, I guess, like maybe definitely don't like wait to tell them until after you're engaged. I think, as Meghan said, like approach it as like, I really value your opinion and approval, and have felt so guilty for years, and we really want to take the next step in our relationship, but we feel like.
Do it first, just you. Don't bring him first.
Right.
Because
no.
That's
just uncomfortable for him.
So I would to have that conversation with your parents. I would say don't, unless any of your siblings can be on your side.
That was going to be my follow-up, is that how old are your siblings, and if they had any kind of experience like this? Like, do you know how your parents are going to react from past experiences that you're basing it off of, and that's why you're scared? Or is it kind of like the unknown is even worse?
Yeah. Or like, are your siblings going to be like a good support system who understand? And then also if your siblings live at home, maybe if you talk to them beforehand, so then you have that conversation with your parents, and then
they can like be on your side.
They can do the follow-up with them. And then I would say let your parents have a reaction and listen to it, but then also focus on your happiness, because ultimately they want you to be happy. And sometimes it might manifest itself in a way that they pictured it. And if it's not going the way they pictured it, they're not going to think you're going to be happy, but you obviously know yourself better than anybody else. And don't at all, not that I'm saying you're going to do this, but just don't let your boyfriend become a pawn in it. Like, don't, like, if they like react badly and you're like, no, let me prove it to you, I'm bringing him over. Like, don't do that. Don't let him walk into that.
Their opinions aren't based on any actual facts about him.
Exactly.
They don't know him. So maybe leave him out and just get them to understand the entire scenario as a whole, rather than
that you're in love with him. And you guys they've been together for so long.
Which, especially if that's like also probably, I would assume, her only boyfriend.
Probably.
Which like is another big thing to.
Cute.
I know, it makes me sad. Just be together.
I love it. Just don't get petty at any point. Like, don't throw in the fact that his parents are fine with us. Like, because I think then they'll
be like, well, they knew.
Why did they know and you didn't tell us? Because I think, not that you can like blame it on your parents, but I think if you approach it in a way of being like, I really heard what you said the first time and I felt really guilty, then they can be like, oh wow, we didn't know about this because of us. Like, we reacted really badly when we found out. And yes, she betrayed our trust, but ultimately, like, that's also the reason why we haven't gotten to know him, because we reacted like this. So I think as long as you come at it, at it from like, I'm really sorry, but this is how you made me feel.
And then also just make it known that like, you don't want them missing out on such an important part of your life.
Yeah.
I'm really crossing my fingers for you.
Just totally crossing my fingers.
Because I have no clue.
No clue.
My mom would just be like, you have a boyfriend? So we can't relate. But I hope it really goes well.
Yeah, me too. And congratulations. It's really cute.
I know.
Also, that whole secretiveness for that long.
I know. It's commitment.
That is.
Oh, true love.
I love true love.
Can we come to your wedding?
I would love to. Invite us. I'm great at weddings.
Oh, God.
I am. I don't drink.
It's true, but that doesn't matter.
Okay, guys. We're now on to Producer's Corner, where Melissa picks. What'd you pick?
What do you think I picked?
Is it a callback?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck yeah. What kind of callback?
It was from the episode with Brie Essrig.
Ooh, those are juicy ones.
Yeah,
okay.
They were juicy ones. Her boyfriend found out that he had a kid, and they were trying to figure out what they wanted, how to go about this.
Yeah.
So, Lily, so you know, this caller got a girl pregnant when they were like around 17, and he didn't know. Yeah, and the girl thought that her next boyfriend that she had hooked up with him right after him was the father for years, and now it comes to find out that he wasn't the father.
How did they find out? Did it go
we
on
don't
more?
know. They didn't tell. They didn't tell us,
Obviously,
but I'm sure.
like,
yeah.
Hi, Megan. I'm calling you back about my boyfriend who had a kid he didn't know about. First of all, thank you so much for taking my call and really appreciate it. So I told my boyfriend that I had called you because he loves listening to your podcast too. And I had him listen to your guys' response to our situation about him having a kid with another woman that he didn't know about for 7 years. And he pretty much agreed with like everything you guys had to say. We both got on the same page about like openly communicating our feelings about the situation and wanting just to be like completely transparent with each other about how we were dealing with it. So he ended up talking to the mom of the kid, and basically she doesn't want him to know the kid or talk to the kid or have any kind of relationship with the kid. But she still wants him to pay the child support every month. And my boyfriend wants to respect her wishes and wants to be there for the kid. But he also wants to respect that the mom doesn't want to shell shock the kid and be like, hey, this isn't the guy who you thought was your dad isn't your dad, and it's this other man that you've never even met. So he's going to be paying the child support because he knows that that's really the only way he's going to be able to support his son right now. And he said that when the kid turns 18, if he wants to meet his dad, that he'd be more than willing and happy to try to have a relationship with him. And basically his way of being there for the kid is just to pay the child support and respect the mom's wishes. And the mom wants nothing to do with my boyfriend. And she said she doesn't want to tell the kid that my boyfriend is his dad until the kid's 18. So I told my boyfriend I'm just going to be there for him and support him. And I think it's a good thing that at least he can be there for the kid financially, if nothing else. And I think listening to your podcast together with my boyfriend really helped open up the conversation to make it less weird and easier to talk about and work through. So thank you so much, Meghan.
Okay, I have feelings.
Upset.
First of all,
I have a lot of feelings.
We've got a lot of feelings. I feel like my feelings are both, I think, different than both of yours. First of all, thank you so much for listening. I find it really cool that she listens with her boyfriend. Now there's officially 2 guys I know who listen to the podcast. Mott's is not included because the last time I asked him what episode he loved, he goes, "Oh, the most recent one was Sasha." And I was like, okay, homie has not listened in a while. No. It's also Sasha's husband is the other guy who listens. Sup, Hudson. But okay, here's what I would say. I think I'm really curious what the mom's relationship is with the man who she had thought was the baby's dad. Because I think I understand. Does
he know?
I don't know. Well, that's what I'm saying. So here's the thing. So, yeah. If the mom is asking your boyfriend to pay child support, but doesn't want the child in the life, okay, I understand the fact why she wouldn't want the kid to know at 7, this guy who has been your dad, if he was still in the picture. If he's not in the picture and doesn't want to be a part of this family, which to me, when she's asking him, your boyfriend, to pay child support, it means that this guy's not financially contributing to raising this kid. And so I understand keeping that from your kid if your kid is having a stable home life with a mom and having a relationship with said dad. But if that dad, who isn't actually that kid's father, but who raised him for the first couple of years, if he's
probably on the birth certificate if he was there.
And if he's no longer in the picture, or if he's no longer in the picture and he's not financially contributing or emotionally helping raising this kid, then you're preventing this kid from having a dad who wants to be a dad. Because I think, but also maybe because I would say also maybe financially he can't support, but at the same time she thought it wasn't. Yeah, she thought it was him to begin with. So then when she finds out it's not him, now she's looking for money, which raising a kid is super fucking expensive. I totally get that, but I think if someone's going to be financially involved in a kid's life, if that kid doesn't have a dad if financially involved in that kid's life, if that's really going to benefit the kid, if she's really, really struggling to make ends meet, and this is something that he would be able to contribute to give a better life for his son, then I'm all for that, as long as there's an emotional relationship with some man and that guy and the kid. So whether or not that's your boyfriend or not, but if she's seeking financial support and not emotional support, I would say if I was your boyfriend, I would talk to, if he's listening, talk to the mom and ask what, not to be nosy, just be like, hey, I obviously want, I want an emotional relationship, but if it's just being able to financially help him out, that's really what I want to do. But I'm wondering is the other guy in the picture? Because I don't want my kid to grow up without a dad. And if that dad isn't me, okay, someone else can be his dad, but I want him to have a dad.
Well, and the fact that this guy finds out after 7 years that he has a kid and is still willing to step it up and like be there, but then she like doesn't want him to be. I do get that it's obviously a huge shell shock for the kid.
Totally.
But also like 7 is young, but it's not that young.
Yes,
I don't remember being 7.
Had some weird, I had like bad family stuff going on when I was 7 that I very much remember. And yeah, it was unfortunate, but I was like, this is at least the more fortunate side of an unfortunate incident.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, maybe she didn't know who the dad was and there's some confusion, but I'm like, if he could have 2 amazing dads.
Totally.
Right.
Like
And
that's way more than most kids have. So
I think he'll be more scarred if he finds out when he's 18.
that everyone's been lying to him for that
Yes.
long.
The
Like
sooner-
this, you could at least like, and I feel like you're younger, you bounce back faster.
You bounce back faster. He could just be introduced as like a family friend.
Exactly.
Exactly. It was like
uncle or
introduce him
something
at
like-
least at first just
Yeah.
into the lot. Like, and that's even like the fact that the mom is so adamant to not have him in the life at all until he's 18. And also like, how do you even then give him the option at 18? Because at this point he doesn't know that that's not his dad.
Yeah. And also my fear too is that, not that I'm saying that that other guy isn't a stand-up guy. He might be, but his tie to her, besides their relationship, was this kid, and this kid is now not his. So the likelihood that like, what happens if like that guy gets pissed off one day and tells the kid like, I'm not your dad. Like how fucked is that to potentially hear that from him as opposed to hearing it from your mom? And I think like 7 is really young. There's like terrible things that happen when you're 7 that you remember, but there's also a lot of stuff you don't fucking remember at being like 7 years old. So I think that what you have to do is, I think it's her responsibility to also like tell your boyfriend, hello, sir, like find out if this kid has a dad. And from there,
How involved he is.
Yes. And then also I would say be persistent. That's like with the mom, because I think she probably feels, not to put feelings in her mouth, she might feel embarrassed. She might feel like a little bit of like slut shaming of being like, I didn't know that I thought this other guy was my kid's dad this whole time. And she might feel embarrassed and feel slut shamed, which she shouldn't at all. And so I think if you can show your support for not only the kid, but also for her and be like, I'm really sorry I wasn't around and I didn't know. If I had known, I would have like really wanted to been a part of the kid's life all of this time.
I guess that's also another question to bring up is like, what was their relationship like and how did that end? And is she just like kind of almost taking it out on him? Like if it didn't end well and like not letting him be a part of it. Cause like if he's willing to step it up and then like, I don't know. I feel like even if he was like maybe financially supported for a while and then like with the potential that maybe in 6 months they could have a conversation again, but to like full on cut it off and be like, no, you are not seeing him until he like
until 10 years from
like,
now. Like,
no, like that's not
and
realistic.
also not to be a cunt. You can take him to her to court for that. Like ultimately, like if you're going to be giving this kid money,
you have visitation.
You
right?
do.
Yeah.
And unless there was anything like super dramatic, like she can't be, and that's the issue. We don't know her situation. Like if it's she desperately needs the money and maybe the other guy is in the picture still as the kid, as a dad, but they're not able to financially support the kid.
Or maybe they're fine and it would just be nice.
Exactly.
Like,
so,
but then I'm like, if it would just be nice, then like, no, you don't get to take the money and then also cut him out. I don't know. It seems like he wants to be involved
and he's settling
and
for
he's
this.
willing to do whatever. And then she's just like cutting it off. It seems like maybe she needs to give her a little bit of time to like come to terms with what's going on. But
and be there. I play the game a little bit, like be there for her too, not just for the kid, and play into that aspect of being like, I'm so impressed with how much you've been raising him. Like you've done an amazing job. And I don't think that I want to become a part of that.
Just like really
I don't
show
want,
that he's there.
Like, and like that she's done a great job and that he's not coming in here trying to like white horse take her, take any of the situation or be like bond with the kid more than her and take full visitation and all that stuff.
I think in a world where so many kids either don't have parents or have bad parents or just have like not great home lives, to deprive a kid of
willing
dad
and able
that
dad.
is very much willing and like wanting to be a part of their life and like you have someone that cares about you and you just don't get to.
Yeah. And that's also just going to make him resent his mom when he turns 18.
He'll find out eventually.
Yeah. So I would say just stick around and be persistent. And then if she's not being receptive to that, just say like, well, at 18, what? He's going to find out that you've been lying to him all of this time. And then
is the 18 like an actual thing that she's suggesting, or is it like pushing it off until like everyone kind of like?
And I would say
until he needs a kidney,
right?
Exactly.
Like, until everyone forgets about it. Oh wait, that's not going to happen.
Yes.
Let the kid meet his dad.
Also because unless we know that she's been struggling financially prior to knowing that this was the dad. Also, why did she just do a paternity test now?
That's what I was like. How do you just find that out 7 years in? Like,
because that to me sounds like they broke up.
Nah, I mean, it could be like maybe they went to the doctor and found out that they weren't the same blood type or something. Like, I feel like there's always weird things that like sometimes people find out that they were adopted for some reason.
Wow.
So dark. People find out in weird ways that typically medical, but I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted another call back.
I know. I was like, we need more details.
Yeah. And good on you for just being supportive with it, which I think was our advice the first time
I mean,
around.
at the end of the day, I was like, there's nothing you can really do except just like.
Totally.
But he listens, so.
Yeah.
In general, I feel like back in the day when like parents got divorced, it was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And then like if people had 2 dads or 2 moms, it was great. Like things are getting much more
progressive.
Yeah, that there are different representations of like perfect family, and there's no reason that you can't have multiple parents and everyone have their own role that they play in that scenario.
Yeah. Oh, well, that is our episode. Thanks, Lils, for being on.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm gonna burp again.
Oh God.
This is why I can't drink carbonated beverages.
Just like went through something. I'm glad we're sitting kind of far apart.
You're welcome. Thank you guys so much for listening or watching this episode. If you're listening, you can catch it on YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube, if you click the down bar, not only can you find our socials on there, but you can also find out where you can get the podcast directly to your phone or your ear holes. And Lily, where can people find you on the internet?
At Lily_Marston. On all of the social medias.
On the social medias. I hope you guys like this episode. If you want to call in, if you've got some things that you desperately need advice on, leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. I'm crushing it. I know it so well. And for our international listeners, email an audio file to meghanpodcast@gmail.com. And we'll have Lily back on soon.
Okay.
Hell yeah. Okay. Oh, fuck. I keep hitting my teeth.
The third time.
I think it's the fourth, honestly.
Like, are your teeth just big?
They are. They go out this way.
Yes.
Yeah. They wanted to give me jaw surgery. We talked about that. Whatever. Okay, guys. Well, we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Don't Blame Me is a production by me, produced, directed, and edited by Melissa DeMont. Post-production sound by Chris Henry, production assistant Julie Carley, and music by Giacomo Picasso and Ryan Hunter. I'll see you guys next week, and don't blame me if your life, completely fucks up before then. Oh.